Welcome to the show that your parents, the PTA, and the asleep don't want you to hear. The Helios blog. Today, Andrew Tate annihilates Meghan Markle. Here we go.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
Again, now, Andrew, good to see you.
Salam alaikum, Piers.
Good to see you. I've genuinely been amazed by the reaction I've had in the streets. Not just here, but I went to Qatar for the World Cup, had the same thing there. A lot of people coming up about Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously, but also a lot of people coming up about you. And they were...
Okay, we already started here. Let's continue here.
When I was in Qatar, I thought the World Cup was fantastically well run, incredibly good experience. But a lot of Qataris were saying to me, you know, there's this weird, quaint feeling back in your country that we all want to aspire to behave like that we all want to live in a country with massive drug problems, with massive knife crime issues, with scenes like the European Championships final where it's complete lawlessness going on, where stuff like the NHS, the system of healthcare, is basically collapsing, where the education system is dropping behind, so on and so on and so on. And it's a really interesting perspective. They were like, I know you all think that we want to have your form of democracy and your form of life, but actually, we're fine, thanks.
Absolutely, because it's a failed society and it's godless.
Yeah, Western society is a mess. We already know this.
I think it's disgusting. We leave our old people to rot in old people's homes, and then we sit there and say we don't have enough money for nurses. I understand this nurse strike very well and how frustrating it can be if you walk into a hospital and the nurse is not prepared to work. But the nurses would be prepared to work at the current wage if they believed this country was spending its money prudently. When you see this country spending its money and just absolutely wasting it, pulling it out of thin air to fund proxy wars, God knows where, that has nothing to do with them. Of course, as a nurse, you're going to stand up and say, well, can't I get a pay rise? This country has failed on every metric. And especially our major cities. I've just come to London now. I made it very clear to my private jet pilot. I said, fuel the jet and leave it running, because the second I'm finished talking to Piers, I'm leaving this cesspit. It's disgusting. This country, and London as a whole, 10 years ago, was one of the most hospitable cities on earth. Now you cannot walk around safely with a watch on. And you're a full-grown man. You're a full-grown adult. When's the last time there's been a serious problem in your life that you completely ignored and it fixed itself? Never, ever. What are any of our politicians doing to fix any of the problems we're
genuinely facing? Well, I saw today that Sadiq Khan is planning to run again for the third term of office as mayor. All I can say is everyone I know who's had any experience of crime at any level in London in the last few years has had a bad experience of it, of the way it's been handled. You know, I mean, I can give an example.
Oh my Lord. Imagine you used to live in like the seat of the British Empire and now it's a cesspool. Lordy Lord.
Example, I can reveal this now.
Man.
I've talked for 18 months. I got a specific death threat on one of my son's Instagram pages in public, a public comment. And it was very specific about what this person was going to do. Yeah. I couldn't use the police to evade him. We know where you live. We're going to come and kill you. And then a second one threatening my son and his mother, my ex-wife. I called in the police. I thought, I'm not having them putting death threats on my son's thing.
Sure.
I called the police. Police investigated this. They arrested somebody over a year ago. And then I heard from the police this week that despite 18 months of investigation, of a publicly posted comment on Instagram threatening to kill me on my son's Instagram, that they will not be able to pursue the case. Now, and I thought, imagine, I'm high profile.
Disaster.
This was a front page of the Sun newspaper, this story.
If that same man called a transgender person the wrong pronouns, he would be in trouble.
Right.
So doesn't it just show how absolutely asinine and banal our legal system has become? That would never happen in a country like United Arab Emirates, the place I'm now residing in, Dubai.
The irony. Well, it's funny because we've seen that Andrew Tate video, you know, where he's where the reason he's talking about like UAE and all that is because he wants to get in with the king so he doesn't get in trouble, you know, in other places. But anyway, no, the irony is that it wouldn't happen in the British Empire. That's the irony. The irony is, yeah, not that long ago, you try that, you're getting like thrown out a window.
Where the leadership has common sense. And I'm saying that all the leadership structures, doesn't matter if it's Labour or Conservative, across all of it in this nation have completely and utterly failed. Sadiq Khan is a loser because
you get defenestrated.
When you have a city which is losing, which London is losing in all metrics across its competitive cities around the world, and you're in charge of it, by extension, you're a loser. I will tell you right now, instead of virtue signaling and giving Qatar a hard time over their religious beliefs, what we should be doing is a treaty with Qatar to build a prison deep in the desert. Make me mayor of London. We'll make a prison deep in the desert, and if you're caught with a knife or robbing someone, you can go do 25 years with one meal a day in the scorching sun. And then what we'll do is we'll put cameras there and we'll interview you once a week and broadcast that out to the nation and see if you change your mind and make people understand that this is a country that should be respected and our laws should be respected.
Police state stuff, Andrew.
Instead, what happens? What has Sadiq or any of the people in charge of this country actually done to fix any of our issues besides sit around and talk? Nothing. None of them have done anything, but they seem ultra concerned with finding money for proxy wars, ultra concerned with rainbow flags in another country that is uninterested in them, and their priorities are completely messed up. Of course the ambulance people are. Of course the ambulance drivers are striking. Of course the nurses are striking. Nobody cares about the most important things in this nation. It's a failing country in real time, and that's why I've left.
What about the specific allegation?
Pretty big disaster.
By the way, I don't disagree with a lot of that because I do think this country is in big trouble. And I do think that one of the problems is people think if they do have a crime against them, nobody cares anymore.
I know nobody cares. I have specific examples and people who I know personally. Absolutely and utterly nobody cares. I was in Harrods yesterday and someone tried to rob someone's watch in the middle of the store. I walk around with I have a security team of 6 full-grown men, plus me and my brother, 8 military-age males, all over 110 kilos, big men, just so I can walk around this city. It's absolutely unacceptable.
What about the issue of race? And I mentioned that in the context of the Harry and Meghan ongoing debate, their war with the royal family, war against the monarchy.
Yeah, we got to be as woke as possible. If you're not woke, you're not I'm glad the royal family isn't doing the whole woke garbage crap.
Specific, constant referencing to the fact that they believe they were driven out of here because of racism in Britain. What do you make of that debate?
That's absolute fallacy.
And you're from a mixed race background yourself.
Correct. I'm from a mixed race background myself. And while we're discussing the leaders of the UK, although I do think they're doing a terrible job, it's kind of hard for Meghan to say that the UK is a racist country when the leader of the UK is darker skinned than her and the mayor of London is darker skinned than her. And I am a person who's probably darker skinned than her. And I've never experienced any kind of bigotry against myself besides the fact I'm a straight male. I'll get bigotry for that before I'll get bigotry for my skin color. I think it's just a cop out and her not wanting to be perspicacious and self-reflective enough to understand that she has attacked an age-old institution, and there are people who are very patriotic about that institution, and by attacking it and bringing a degree of distaste to it, there's going to be people who don't like her. And if you're a dislikable person, you can't just instantly stand up and say it's because of my skin color. It might be because of your actions and some of the things you say.
I mean, I think there's probably no doubt she's had racism on social media because it's...
Who hasn't, Pierce?
It's assessed.
You probably have.
Well, as I said just now, I've had death threats on social media. And
yeah, social media is... I mean, I've already talked about this, and Jordan Peterson's talked about this, but it's much more likely to find, like, psychopath-type people, like people with low empathy and stuff online. And so... the psychopath voices are overrepresented, and so you get lots more bad stuff online, and you just have to be, disagreeable and be able to take it. If you don't have thick skin, you can't post things online.
No one seemed to care very much.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably inarguable. My issue with what they've both been doing is if you're going to make allegations against an institution like the royal family and the monarchy, you've got to actually provide some evidence. You can't just spray gun this thing out there and say, well, somebody was racist.
Yeah, and airing dirty laundry is never going to be respected by the populace, and being a tattletale is never going to be respected by the populace. And I think the problem with the modern world we're living in is a lot of age-old traditions are being destroyed in real time. It doesn't matter what the tradition is. Most of them are being eroded. And something like the British royal family, which has been around for a very long time, is an age-old tradition. One of the things holding the UK together, one of the last things we have, to sit and detriment it and to sit and insult it and to give away secrets from inside of it and try and paint a negative image of it is going to upset a lot of people. And you have to be prepared for that backlash. You can't say I've done things that upset people, but it's nothing to do with what I've done. It's purely because of my skin color.
Yeah, exactly. It's the girl slapping the boy on the schoolyard and then saying, "Oh, he's slapping me because he's retaliating at me." No, sorry. I'm out to lunch right now. Girl slaps boy on the schoolyard. Boy gets mad at her and hits back. Then she says, don't hit girls. Well, no. You started by starting stuff, and now you're mad. But you started it.
Also, it's kind of ironic that she's doing that because she's not particularly dark-skinned. It's kind of funny to watch her sit and say,
I think
she declared on her CV that she was white, that she was Caucasian.
Truth is, I don't know what. Look,
Apparently.
you can say that. I can't. The reality of it is, I just don't know what the specifics of the racism she says she's had because we've not seen any evidence.
The universe is a funny place, Piers. If you're looking for something, you're going to find it, right? When I got canceled, when they attacked me unfairly, lied about me across the entire mainstream media, deleted me from social media so I couldn't defend myself, and lied about me repeatedly, I could have stood up and said, it's because I'm brown. I didn't do that. I sat and said, okay, there's people who misunderstand my message. My message is a positive one. People misunderstand me. Let me self-reflect and understand that, yes, perhaps this said a long time ago was said in the wrong way. Perhaps this was misunderstood. Perhaps people don't understand this. I could have just copped out and could have just been refusing to self-reflect on any level and said, it's because I'm brown, that's why they did it. But that's not the mature way to be as an adult.
What did you think of the Jeremy Clarkson furore where he wrote what I think most people, but including him belatedly after he'd published it and written the column, he did make an analogy from a Game of Thrones scene, which most people, I think, did find crossed a line and was deeply offensive. I think it crossed a line. What do you think?
Yeah, I understand why people feel that. But when you attack an institution as old as the British royal family, you're attacking patriotism in and of itself for one of the most respected countries, or previously most respected countries on Earth, and you're going to have some visceral reactions. Perhaps Jeremy Clarkson is too famous and too well-renowned to say those kind of things, but there's a lot of people who genuinely feel that way, and that's why he said it. And this is what happens when you attack age-old institutions in any country.
Should he have apologized?
That's a good question. It looks like he did. Personally, I think as a man, you should stand up, say what you mean what you say. I don't think you should ever apologize for anything you've ever said. Even me.
What if you say something truly very offensive and you actually do regret it?
If you truly regret it, then yeah, okay, you can apologize. But if at the time you meant it, then the best thing you can do is say, look, I've just changed my mind. I no longer feel that way. But at the time, that's how I felt. And I'm the person who says what he feels. And that's what I felt at the time. This is the thing about history you must understand. Myron's making a very important point. Please, and when I was saying earlier about resist the slave mind, this is one of those situations where you have to keep your mind open, right?
Okay.
Resist the slave mind. Resist it. Since the dawn of human time, every single society that we can name was led by men. Agreed?
I agree.
Okay. What is the odds of that being?
Oh, except Egypt.
No, Egypt was ruled by men. It was temporarily ruled by a woman, although she was an extremely competent woman, arguably, and didn't rule for all that long. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue.
No, you had Cleopatra.
Yeah, Egypt. It was very heavily influenced by women.
Cleopatra was a queen, but society was run by men. The household, the man was in charge.
I agree.
So having a queen is different than, because England's, let's not go down that route. You had Boudicca, you had a bunch of things. So let's not go down that route. Right. The point is that what's the odds of that happening?
You mean Boudica, the queen of the Celts?
By statistical anomaly, right?
Maybe like
50 chance every civilization since the dawn of human time, it ends up being men. What's the odds of that? Basically zero. Agreed?
I agree.
Okay. So the reason that you can only name societies that were run by men is because all the societies that were run by women, which did exist, were decimated and destroyed so quickly they don't even have history to fucking write about. They didn't build shit. They didn't write shit. Because the second they said, we're a bunch of pussies and chicks are in charge, the dudes turned up and fucked them up. Now, you have to understand that the world now is a lot less competitive than it used to be. It used to be survival of the fittest. And the fittest societies are patriarchal societies. That's a reality. Now, she said, the next 100 years, let's see what happens. I actually agree with her. We are moving in the West to a femme-centric society. We are moving here in the West to a society where females have more power than men. She said earlier that feminism...
That already happens. Today in 2024, that's already a thing. It's not sometime in the future. That's today.
It means we need the same rights. You already have more rights and more laws protecting you than men do. You're already in charge. But if you look at how society is going, if you actually look at the crime rate, You look at the falling birth rate. You look at the fact that most women are completely depressed and can't find a man they love. You look at the fact that everyone's having abortions and running around doing all this crazy shit. I think society is getting worse. And the reason I think it's getting worse is because there's not enough big, strong men around to keep things in line. I think the happiest societies in the world are patriarchal societies. So when we make this point, when you're saying we need a matriarchal society, it hasn't been tried, it's been tried. You all just fucking
failed.
lost because it's not competitive. And the second the West becomes fully matriarchal, you're going to lose to Russia, to China. You're just going to be outcompeted and destroyed. That is what's going to happen.
Can I ask a question from your theory?
Was there? I know someone wanted to chime something in before we go into another question. Did anyone have anything? Nope. Okay, go ahead.
No, so like from what you're saying, men have always been able to like dominate women. That's just always what it's been. Like the only time I've ever seen women run stuff is like on Futurama. I can't lie, on an episode.
Oh, by the way, real quick, guys. Yo, we are on YouTube only, guys. We have to kill the Twitch stream so the lag wouldn't. So we'll stop lagging. We got over 10,000 y'all in here, man. So thank you so much.
Hold on,
we got the likes up.
We got a problem though.
What?
Likes are super low, man.
Yeah, they're
low. We got 10K watching. We got 3K likes, Chris. Yeah, 3.3K. Come on, guys.
Yeah, there's 10,000 of you guys on YouTube, man. Like the video, please. Get us up in the algo. This is great discussion. I'm losing hair.
Yo, guess 8,000, man. Let's go.
And Andrew's about to get drunk as fuck. So, guys, like that video.
$500,000. Let's get it.
And did I forget?
I've been drinking for 5 hours. I've done all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he has done all right.
500K party coming up December 18th in Miami. It's gonna be lit.
So, sorry, go ahead. Like the video,
you guys are completely fine. It's just like, you know how you're sitting here saying like, you know, for as long as Dawn, like men have always ran everything. If men have always been running everything, right? And like everybody's just so comfortable and happy. Why do women feel the need? Happen?
Speak into the mic.
I'm sorry.
The penis.
Like why do women feel the need to fight for their rights if everybody's so happy and complicit?
You are absolutely
because loser men voted for those laws, like in an attempt to get laid because they thought that freedom, you know, bedroom fun liberation would, you know, mean some benefit to themselves. But that's not actually what happened. What actually happened is they just played themselves. That's what actually happened.
Right.
Good question.
Like that's my biggest thing. Okay, men have always ran things and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, there are complicit women. Don't get me wrong. There are women who feel like men should lead complacent. Yes, I do apologize.
That's fine.
You know, there are women who are okay with that, but there are also women who, why do women fight so hard? Because obviously there's some imbalances that females feel like is not comfortable.
Yeah, they feel that it's imbalanced, therefore it is. But feeling and fact are two different things, and therein lies the rub.
So yeah, I could sit here and be like, yeah, the most societies and things like that have been ran by men, but obviously why do women always revolt against it? Because we don't feel like it's equal and fair. We're not happy. Y'all feel happy, but obviously there's a big ass demographic of females who do not feel the same way.
That's a good point, and I'm gonna answer that because it's a very valid point. I disagree with you when you say that women are not happy. First, no. Let me answer why.
Okay.
I agree with you. Yes, a lot of women are unhappy, and especially, firstly, it's new. This is Western world, and it's very new.
Since the 50s.
50 years. 50 years in terms of human history is new, right? Okay, so.
But were you there?
For the longest period of human history, men were in charge, and were women happy? I don't know. What I'm saying now.
It shows in history.
What I'm saying now is that if you talk about your own personal relationships, which you've already done, you like the idea of a man in a dominant place. So there's still something evolutionary and biological about females liking male dominance to some degree, right? Because in your personal relationships, you do want that. I'm not saying that women should have no rights. I'm not saying you shouldn't fight for equal rights. In fact, even though you already have more rights than men, I'm not saying you should do those things. I'm not saying that. What I am only doing is stating the facts that matriarchal societies fail. And I'm stating that because it's been proven throughout history. I'm not even talking about the happiness of people. So the point you're making is a valid point. I never discussed whether people were happy. I was discussing competition. I was discussing survival. And in pure survival situations, most of the time, nobody's happy. Because let me tell you something. The men who were going out to die to defend their women probably weren't happy either. And you talk about, this is a big point I want to make because women confuse this very often. They talk about the fact that men have all the power, men make all the money, men are in charge, and we oppress women. Let me make something very clear to you.
Okay.
Firstly, you're confusing 1% of men with all men. The majority of men have no money, no power, no sex from their wife, no fucking chance in court. They can't even keep their house. They won't get to see their kids, and they don't. So most men, their life sucks.
Okay.
That's the first thing. The second thing, when a man gets up at 4 a.m. to go carry garbage to earn a good wage, he ain't thinking, I'm going to do this so I can oppress that bitch because she's broke. He's doing it thinking so I can provide for my family, so my woman can stay at home and raise my kids and have nice nails while I'm out here carrying trash. You go to a coal mine, those dudes are not down there thinking about oppressing women. They're down there thinking about providing for women.
Yep,
now,
that's
I'm
true.
not saying that there's not bad apples, but in general, us men are prepared to take on more bullshit to
It's true. It's true.
protect you than you would possibly believe. And in the modern world, they've spun that. Feminism spun that. Men make all the money. You women need more money because men make the money and men are in charge and men have the good jobs. Men are...
Yeah, like it's something to be desired to go and kill yourself for some money. You know, to use 8 hours of your day, 5 days per week or more to, you know, to earn an income to support. Like it's, you know, such a desirable thing. Oh, you'll have your freedom. Well, not really. Is it really freedom if, like, what, 60 to 70% of your time is spent doing something that you have to do as opposed to something that you want to do? You know, that's a thing. Like that's the truth of the reality of being a man. It's like that much more than it's like the other thing. So, okay, let's continue.
out here giving up their fucking life for you chicks.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
giving up their life for you. And
completely
feminism
agree.
prevents you respecting it. And this is a Western phenomenon. I say this as a man who lives in the East. In the East, women don't think that way. They think, I don't want to make money. I want a man who takes care of me. I want to drive a Bentley. I want 3 or 4 kids. I want the man to make money. And I will respect him for working so hard for me. It's only here in the West they start talking shit, saying, well, I deserve that job too, blah, blah, blah. It's not even, it won't even make you happy. You don't want that job. It's stress. It's unhappiness. It's bullshit. So I agree with what you're saying, but the point about happiness in society, et cetera,
Yeah.
once again, be very, very careful what you say, and you need to resist the slave mind, because as much as you say you're
I agree with
unhappy,
that.
I'm unhappy, I'm unhappy, I'm
He's
unhappy.
making so much sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But see, with men though, I feel like the reason why it's been so successful
Into the mic.
is so.
My lord. Yeah, it's like Kevin Samuels said, right? Shame insults guilt and the need to be right. This girl, like, she hears the points, she hears the clear argument, she hears, you know, stuff that if she actually listened would actually help her in her life, and nope, I gotta put in my 22 cents.
Successful is because men like run things off ego. Women run things off emotions. I can't lie. That's just what it is. Guys have something to prove. They always be like, I'm better than this. I want to prove this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Girls are like, we gotta be compassionate. We don't want to do war. We don't want to do.
Yeah, we don't want to do war. Okay. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's just all the... There's no critical thought. It's just whatever you've seen in movies and in books, that's what you... In movies and in pop culture, they don't read books. That's what they believe. That's what they genuinely think this. There's no critical thought at all. They got to be taught it.
Do all this, so obviously men are going to advance faster than women. Don't get me wrong, and that's why
It's more forceful.
exactly, and that high key does contribute to their success.
This is a good,
You don't
this
think
is
so?
a good demonstration of
100%
what
wrong,
that
but
is.
continue.
How do you feel that? No,
It's not even that I feel, it's a fact. If you look at
Okay, tell me.
Scandinavian countries, shout out to
Okay.
Jordan Peterson, he talks about this. The women are that's probably the most equal society in the world.
Correct.
Scandinavian countries,
Scandinavian,
Norway,
okay.
etc. And what they found is when you leave women to their own devices, they go into what they want to do even more so. The men pick engineering, architecture, etc. things. Women go into more social jobs, being a nurse, a teacher, etc. So it's not that women are being held against what they want to do. It's not that. It's just that, simply put, if you leave a woman to her own devices, she's almost always going to pick a job that deals with people. If you leave a man to his own devices, he's going to pick a job that deals more with things. And the other thing too is that men are far more willing to work overtime, work dangerous jobs that women never want to work. You know, women want equality until it's about, doing offshore fishing or offshore drilling or any job that's dangerous or physically labor intensive.
Or staying on the Titanic.
Yeah,
No,
you know?
of course.
So,
Literally.
Oh, you're not equal now. Oh, you're not equal now. Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, and what that comes from is the idea that women are more biologically valuable, right? If you have a war, God forbid, you lose 80% of your male population. Well, if you have your female population, it doesn't matter. You can repopulate with 20% of the male population, and all the men will be really happy because there'll be no competition for girls.
They do those jobs because they're emotional beings, right? Like nurses,
because you were saying like men push.
everything.
You were saying like men push harder. It's not that men push harder or whatever it is. It's not that. It's simply put that if allowed, right, women are going to just. I'm just gonna say it. Women pick easier jobs physically, and that's why they get paid less. They work less hours. They're more likely to take vacation time, and this is all statistical fact.
Yeah,
there is no wage gap because of gender. There's a wage gap because of choice.
Yeah.
A woman.
It's not a wage gap. It's a choice gap. It's literally decisions that they choose to make. They skip work more often. They take more sick days more often. They have more excuses for why not to work, and so on. That's why they're paid less. It's not because there's some secret group of people that are against women that are preventing them from getting what they want.
Doesn't get paid less by the fact just because she has a vagina. No, she gets paid because of the choices she makes. And let's take it a step further. Over 60% of college enrollees are women.
Yep,
women have more college degrees than men now. Why do men still make more money? Because men go into fields that pay more, that tend to be science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM. Women don't want to do that shit. Pilots, engineers, etc., like we were discussing before, dominated by men.
Because men are more willing to do competitive jobs than females.
Men are more willing to do the competitive hard jobs. That's right. That's exactly right. And there are girls that are masculine enough to do those jobs too, but they're not easy. So it's hard to get them, and it's hard to stay in them. It's hard to compete with men to keep them and to make those competitive salaries. Okay, we're going to end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all the notifications, drop me a donation like Hunter M, Adrian, Tom, and Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, Andrew, and Alan. Shout outs to you, most recent purchaser of Strategist Guide to Seduction. Go buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. Want to listen to better advice than these girls could ever give you? Just message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com. I do offer coaching services. And if you want to watch my videos, not just one per day, but early access, see all the videos that I have planned all at once, just go to my Patreon. That's patreon.com/theheliosblog. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.